Okay, go get it, nation. Good afternoon. It is 3 o'clock Eastern time here on Tuesday, and you generally know what that means. That means it is time to go raw and real. It is time to have a no holds barred conversation here on Ringside Live. Keep in mind, we used to say Ringside on LinkedIn Live, but since last week, we have graduated and we are now on LinkedIn. We are now streaming live on Facebook. We are streaming live on YouTube. And you can also be a fly on the wall and listen to the show on Clubhouse. If you are on Clubhouse, please mute your microphone. I'll be saying that over and over again throughout the course of the show. And if you are joining us here today, please make it a point to say hello in the comments. Type your name in there. Let me know you're here. We will give you the requisite shout out. And Jim Cooper has joined us, and so has Elaine Dissin, my better half, has joined us. Thank you, honey. But as folks stream in, we'll make sure to say hello. And, you know, I got a very special guest today, and I'm excited to welcome her on board. And I have to tell a quick story, Kathryn, before it has nothing to do with you, why you're even here. So if this was maybe a month ago or more, I'm just doing my normal, surfing on my LinkedIn feed. And I come across a post because we're not connected, but obviously we had a mutual connection. And I saw the words, serve, don't sell. And I was like, whoa, that is awesome. I have got to meet this person. And quickly thereafter, I shot you a message and you were gracious to respond. And this is why you're here today, because you are a LinkedIn expert. You are what I like to call a LinkedIn legend. That's what we try to build here in Go Get It Nation. And, you're the founder of the Social Selling Agency. You're the host of the Art of the Inspired Selling live stream. Please welcome, Go Get It Nation, what I'd like to call the valedictorian of LinkedIn University, Mrs. Kathryn Nunez. Thank you for joining us.
And it is Ms. It is Ms. Let's there's no ring on this finger, so let's not marry me off here.
Oops. Okay, Kathryn's available for everybody.
The dating site is February, right? It's there just a couple days after Valentine's Day.
There you go.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Yes. So I am the founder of the Social Selling Agency, where we teach B2B entrepreneurs how to use social selling to find, connect, attract, and engage with their target market. So that is what we're all about. And we do use LinkedIn as one of the platforms for lead generation. But I move so much. My camera's going to go in and out, you guys. So
just use
my hands and get all over.
We're not formal here. Have a good time.
So yeah, I'll just stop with that. So that's what I do at the Social Selling Agency. We have a team of people that support us, and I'm here to answer all of your questions. Anybody in the audience, I'm here to answer questions, to deliver value, and to help you better understand how to have more sales conversations with your target market on social platforms like LinkedIn.
Perfect. Now, Go Get It Nation, I hope you heard what Kathryn just said. She is here to answer questions. If you are trying to leverage the power of LinkedIn to create more revenue for your business, we have someone held captive for the next 20, 30 minutes who has agreed to answer some questions. Now, real quick, let's introduce some of the folks who have jumped on.
Sure.
Andrew Webster, how are you, my friend? Thank you for jumping on. David Inahosa is here. John Grimes has joined us. Jeremy Torres is in the house. How you doing, my friend? John McBride at Ringside is here. What's up, dude? One of the best PA announcers, if not the best PA announcer in Philadelphia. Thank you all for joining us. So I had the first question. So,
sure.
We talk a lot about on LinkedIn and on social media in general to give, get. Now, I'm guessing that has a lot to do with your philosophy of serve, don't sell. If I didn't just say what I just said, how would you explain serve, don't sell as it applies to LinkedIn?
So what I want you guys to walk away from, one of the tips today, is to keep in mind like a 4-to-1 ratio. So when you're posting information, you want to start educating your audience about your subject matter expertise or whatever you're doing at a 4-to-1 ratio, meaning you're educating, you're giving tips, you're sharing case studies, you're sharing thought leader information with your audience 4 times more often than you're talking about yourself. So that's putting it in a simple term, right? Is you want to give to them. You want to, if you can't help them, who do you know in your network that can give to them? That's kind of a servant mentality, right? How can I help people? What can I do to help them? And then 1%, that 4-to-1 ratio. Oh, and by the way, I have a solution that might be able to help you. So that's very simple terms to think about how to lead with more content to help and educate than to start selling with them.
Perfect.
To them.
Because a lot of folks try to jump right out of the gates, right to the pitch, and that's not just shooting yourself in the foot. It's probably hacking it off at the knee. I mean, it's like the kiss of death when you jump on someone right away and go, "Hey, let me sell you this, let me sell you that." Real quick, I just want to welcome a few other people that have jumped on. Nigel Hackett, how are you? It's not a wrestling group. You are Ringside, but it is not a wrestling group. James is here, and we just exchanged some Twitter messages from Audiobook World. What's up, James? Robert Jonathan, the animation voice, is here. Thank you for joining us. So back into the LinkedIn discussion. And by the way, Go Get It Nation, you need to be thinking of questions, formulate questions, ask questions, put them in the comments. I'll serve them up to Kathryn. Kathryn is a LinkedIn legend, a LinkedIn champion, which, your whole career wasn't wrapped around LinkedIn.
It wasn't. I was an early adopter of LinkedIn. So my background and experience is in B2B sales. So I have actually been selling for 30 plus years, B2B, primarily in the healthcare space. I've always had a side gig. I've always had retail store or some type of design. I'm a creative person, but 100% sales management, business development. So it was really an opportunity to position my skill sets when the pandemic hit, because I was a face-to-face salesperson. My sales teams all over the world were also face-to-face. So now that people are grounded at home, what do you do? And we like to coin it kind of the modern day salesperson, because this move of being active on LinkedIn happened before February or March 15th, right, of 2020. So it was the people that were already comfortable with building those relationships on LinkedIn and networking in a regular networking cocktail hour or business networking event that have really been successful using LinkedIn, because they understand that you're going to treat a platform, a social platform, just like you would any other social media platform, where you're there to build relationships with people. You chit chat, you ask them how it's going, what you're doing. Great post. Hey, love your background, love your logo. People say, love your artwork. So complimenting them and talking about them is just like a question that you would ask at a networking event or a cocktail hour.
Say that one more time. Humor me, because that's a point that I make to a lot of my clients in my sessions, that LinkedIn is the banquet hall of the fancy hotel with the circular tables and the sticker on your chest that says, "Hello, my name is Kathryn," right?
Yes.
That's the same. You wouldn't go into that situation and shake someone's hand and say, "Will you buy from me?" The first words out of your mouth.
Right. Or hey, thanks so much for coming to this cocktail hour. Would you like to book a 15-minute free consultation with me?
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well said. I mean, that's it. Definitely
Like,
said.
Who the hell are you? And they immediately go to see another person across the hallway. So we don't want to treat LinkedIn like that. And so when I approached LinkedIn, I actually was having my conversations in the past were with biotech companies, pharmaceutical companies, physicians, thought leader physicians, around the US or around the world.
On LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn, right. And so with physicians, you need to have something else to talk about. So I've had conversations with emergency room physicians in Florida where we were talking about she was messaging in the middle of the night. I'm like, why are you up so late? I can't sleep. I have twins. So then the conversation turned into, what is your feeding schedule? How are they eating? What are they doing? So then it was this rapport that we built because we found a commonality that we could converse about, which wasn't, would you book a 15-minute call with me? And it also wasn't, what problems, do you mind if I ask what your 5 biggest problems are that you're experiencing today in your practice? First of all, I can't solve those because I'm not in the emergency room medicine.
And who wants to talk about that right away?
In the middle of the night when she can't sleep because her twins have been up all night long. So, understand that social media is research and engagement. So LinkedIn is more than just reaching out and trying to find your target market, because maybe your target market isn't on LinkedIn. Maybe they're so busy, they have a virtual assistant that's managing their LinkedIn profile. So you're not ever really going to speak to them. Same with like an Instagram. They have a VA, you have your VA interacting with their VA, and you're never going to really talk to them. But you can use this social media platform to understand keywords that are being used in the industry. You can understand what your competition is doing. You can find out the trends that are happening in your industry. You can find, maybe your target is writing articles. You can find out where their headspace is, so that you use social selling as an asset to put in place along with your traditional sales tools. So I think that's something that people are getting away from. They're forgetting that you actually can pick up the phone and call someone. What did you do when LinkedIn didn't exist? Right? You showed up at their doorstep. You sent them a fax. You sent them a letter. You sent them an email. You made a phone call.
Yep.
Like, those things are still effective because they're pattern interrupts. You're going to interrupt their day, but hopefully if you're going to make a phone call to them, they know who you are because you've connected with them. You've sent them a message. Right. You've created this online relationship. And we like to say that, a social selling strategy can take away the dreaded cold call. There's still that first time when you're going to speak to the person. But now today's buyers are more educated, and they have done the research, and your name has appeared in their feed. Your name has appeared in their inbox. Your name has appeared as speaking on an event like this. So you're building up your subject matter expertise online on the platform where your target market exists. And now when you speak to them, they feel like they know you. Like, Corey, I feel like I know you. I know your some of your audiences. We followed each other's posts. I've looked at your website. We've looked at, your branding, because that's where my eyes go. So now we actually get to talk, and you almost feel like you know each other. So that's what you want to build with your target market.
You're hitting the ground running, basically.
Yes. You accelerate the opportunity to take them through the funnel by holding their hand, because you understand more about them and you understand their hot points and what's important.
So a reminder, Go Get It Nation, we are broadcasting, simulcasting live on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and you could be a fly on the wall in Clubhouse. If you are joining us in Clubhouse, please mute your mic, and you can also hang out after the show, and you can have a post-game chat with me after the show on Clubhouse. And Susie is in Clubhouse joining us now. Susie, please make sure to join to mute your mic. I appreciate that. And George Allen Ruth has joined the conversation. Thank you for joining us, George. Now, I got to ask you, Kathryn,
yes,
what was the inflection point for you? You're doing business-to-business sales in the medical field, basically. Mm-hmm. You're building up your repertoire on LinkedIn. How did it go from, okay, I'm using LinkedIn for my job, to LinkedIn being your job?
So that's a deep conversation. Let's just simply say that living and working in corporate America really wasn't feeding my soul. So one of the things that I teach my clients, and you probably do too, is about personal branding. So when you do a deep dive into personal branding, and I don't want to get super woo-woo, but when you do a deep dive into personal branding, you really need to understand your values You need to understand what you stand for and what you stand against. So when I was doing some of those deep dives into what do I stand for and what my values were, it was family. I'm a single mom. I've always been a single mom, but I've always traveled around the world. Like I'm the mom that would take an infant, fly to another country, hire the hotel staff to babysit so that I could go work.
Wow.
Or build a connection with the hotel staff so they can put them in some sort of local daycare so I could go work, or hide my baby under the table at a trade show. And they were wondering where this little cooing noise was, but it was my newborn under the table so I could breastfeed when the people left the trade show booth.
Wow.
So I just had it was going against my personal values. Is I'm missing hockey games, I'm missing parent-teacher conferences, I'm missing all these things that I cherish as a parent and as a mother. And so I'm really not living my authentic self by chasing the dollar instead of chasing what really means something to me, and that's being home with my family. So when COVID hit and I had an opportunity to exit, really wasn't a choice of mine, but when I had an opportunity to exit corporate America, that's when I went full on into the social selling agency.
So I got to tell you, it is serendipity that we are on this show together, because literally your story, aside, I didn't breastfeed my child underneath a table, but our stories are very similar in that, 25 plus years in the corporate atmosphere, running a big company, didn't feed my soul, family time, downsizing, working in something that you're passionate about. And then COVID was the inflection point.
Mm-hmm.
And they lit like the exact same thing. I mean, and the folks who know me know my story, how we packed up and left Pennsylvania, blah, blah, blah. So there's a reason. If you want to get woo-woo, there's a reason. There's a planetary.
Baby,
alignment.
I can burn my sage behind us because I am woo-woo.
That's good. So you're in good company. So it makes total sense why we're on the same frequency. So I feel that much more comfortable having you here. We do have a question from the audience from James. He
Absolutely.
said, you mentioned the 4-to-1 ratio for engagement earlier. Would you say that would be for engagement-based questions about their job and profession, or things other than work, or both?
Well, I actually have a handout that I usually give out, and I told Corey I was going to have this handy. So examples, let me make sure, 4-to-1 ratio. So let me give you an example of what a post would be non-related to the social selling agency, for example. And James, what does James do? Do you know?
James Corey? Is an audiobook narrator.
Oh, okay, great. So maybe you want to show some infographics. I don't want to get too deep. Also, I don't know if your audience is aware of what a buyer's journey is. Do you guys want to put in the chat? Do you know what a buyer's journey is? So you need to understand when you're introducing content to your audience where they might be in the awareness or in the buyer's journey. So do they know they have a problem? Do they know they need you? Have they heard of your brand before? Are they thinking about buying from you and they're trying to make a decision? Do you already have a call booked with them and now you're just pushing out some content to push them over the edge? So you need to understand your audience when they come to you, at what stage in the buyer's journey they're at and what stage of awareness they're at. So that's something that we could save for another call. So when you're posting content, you need to try to hit on all of those different points, because you're going to be talking to your one perfect target market, but you don't know where they're at, right? So you could post an infographic that talks about the importance of why an audiobook is important, with some industry statistics. That infographic isn't so much about you. It's content that you've found and you've repositioned and you're posting it out. So that would be an example of an awareness top of the funnel post that you could do that's non-specific to you and your company. You could share an article that was written by an industry thought leader, and you really thought that you couldn't have said what they said better, and they're not a competitor of yours. So you want to share it. You want to give your opinion on it. Remember, we just talked about what you stand for and what you stand against. So if what you believe in is what they wrote and you couldn't have articulated it better, then you can share that in some sort of a curated form. And then maybe if you don't know the author, you could tag them in the article, and now they know who you are, right? So if they go back in and they comment and they thank you for sharing their content, now you've opened the door to start a conversation perhaps with that thought leader as well. So those are a couple of ideas of information to share that is non-brand specific.
And let me remind everybody that you can feel free to ask questions. We still got Kathryn here for a little while. Put your questions in the chat and we'll serve them up to Kathryn. You had mentioned about repackaging content generated by someone else and tagging them. That's the method that we talk about. Mm-hmm. What about, and I know you have a specific sort of a position on repurposing your own content, because so many folks get stuck and they feel like they're in quicksand. They think every time they have to post on LinkedIn or pick any social media platform, everything has to be completely unique.
And that can get you in trouble, because if every time you post it's something unique, then you really don't stand for just something. So understanding your subject matter expertise. Okay, now I'm going to put Corey in the hot seat. And we can come back and answer some questions about buyer's journey too. But Corey, let me put you in the hot seat. Maybe I'm going to take some notes.
Hey, we're ringside. Let's go.
All right. So give me 3 subjects that your brand, that you are a subject matter expert on, that you want to be known from your audience as a subject matter expert. Give me 3 topics.
Voiceover marketing.
Okay.
Motivation.
Motivation as in you want to motivate people to do what?
Get off their rear end and get out of their own way.
Okay.
And that kind of ties into the third item, which I'm an expert at, which is having discipline in both the way I spell it and the correct way. I spell it D-I-S-S after my name, but it's about doing small things very well over and over again consistently for a sustained period of time. Brick by brick philosophy.
Okay. So those are some overarching keywords and personal brand things that you stand for. So those, we could even go as far as to call them philosophies or values, right? So do you have an actual voiceover marketing package that you sell?
Yes.
Okay. So let's just take that one for now. So let's say that you are going to talk about all things voice marketing, and you want to write down, free write all the questions that your target market might have about voiceover marketing, and you want to write those down.
Sure.
So then you can either let's pretend we're in a virtual world. So now let's say that you're going to write or hire a content writer to write a blog or a LinkedIn article about that. So then let's just call that for a minute like a pillar piece of content.
Sure.
Right? That just has all the questions, and you formatted them and you answered a whole bunch and you just delivered so much value.
Your master document.
It's your master document. So now you're going to take that content and you're going to start answering questions like, first of all, for me, what is voiceover marketing? What if I'm new to the industry and I don't even know those keywords or those buzzwords? Like, what is voiceover marketing? So you might want to do a few posts about what is voiceover marketing. You could start out by doing a video. This is Corey Dissin here, and I'm going to tell you today about voiceover marketing, and here's what it is and here's what it isn't.
Yeah.
And maybe you're going to record a video, let's say for 2 minutes. So now you can take that video and you can upload it into an artificial intelligence, and you can pull all the content out of it. And now you can use some of that content and you can create quotes around voiceover marketing. Or you could do a text in motion around voiceover marketing. And you can start to take content from the article that you wrote or the blog that you wrote, and you're weaving it into voiceover marketing. So now at the end of all of this content that you're going to create about that one subject, people sure as hell better know that you know what voiceover marketing is, and you stood for it, and you talked about it, and maybe you did a rant, about why people don't know what they're doing, and they're trying to say they know what they're doing.
I might have done that a few times.
I was just thinking.
No, that's okay. That's fine.
Or you might even have on your show. Right now, we're talking about you want to sell your voiceover marketing package. And so you're going to have other people in the industry that are little, that also provide something not exactly the same, but you just talk about it. So now that's how you went deep on a specific topic. And you posted that information, and now people know what you stand for, or what you're about. So you were really, with clarity and focus, you talked about one topic instead of all over the board about what everybody's saying and what everybody's doing. You want to swim in your own lane and build your subject matter expertise so that when people think about voiceover marketing, your name pops up to them.
A lot of what we try to preach here at Go Get It Nation is frequency is your friend. It's okay to say the same message over and over again because you don't know 100% what the consumption habits of your potential buyer are. Are they on LinkedIn at what time for how long? Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, exactly. Mm-hmm. So you want them to bump into you wherever and have a consistent message throughout. And
yes.
to get that message drip to them over and over and over again over an extended period of time, because that's what you're talking about is top of mind awareness.
Mm-hmm. It is.
I love it. I love it. So Joel Heberly wants to, break my chops a little bit and tells me because my head looks like it's floating in a dark void. Now, you don't know Joel. I know Joel. I've known him a long time. I've broken bread with the man. He is the smart ass of smart asses. I love the guy. He just give me a hard time. How about, Joel, maybe you ask a question about LinkedIn to Kathryn while you have her, and let everybody know that if you have a question about LinkedIn for your business, Kathryn is a great person to ask. Hey, Jeremy, thank you for joining us, by the way. Just jumped on Facebook. If you are joining us on Clubhouse, a reminder to please mute your microphone. And when the show's over, you can hop on my room here and we can have a little post-game chat. Now, I know for your clients, you have something very unique on your website. If someone
a unique value proposition. Imagine that.
It's not just the typical sort of intake form or contact form that many folks, including myself, I have one of those on my website, but you offer up something different. Do tell.
Well, would that be the quiz? Okay. Good, because I have a lot of different things that I have on the website.
Shamelessly plug away. Go ahead.
So I do have on my website a LinkedIn quiz, because since we're giving away some secrets here, you need to have something to be able to get if somebody takes the time to research you and they find something on your website that's of interest, you want them to say, tell me more, right? You want them to go down the proverbial rabbit hole and get into your funnel. So one of the things that I do, which is an easy, no skin on their back, they can take a quiz about how compelling is your LinkedIn profile. And I asked, so let me even back up. On LinkedIn, people, what is it that you want people to do after they read your LinkedIn about section? So you need to have some sort of a call to action on your LinkedIn profile, on your LinkedIn banner, in one of the website link options. You need to have some type of a call to action, because if they made the effort to find you, either through some sort of a search or a keyword search, or they saw you and they found you, you want them to be sticky and to stay there. And you want to be able to take them off of the LinkedIn profile into an email campaign or into a direct message campaign or something, because tomorrow LinkedIn could go away or something could happen, and all that work you did, you no longer have access to that person. So I have a LinkedIn quiz, and I have in my banner, take our LinkedIn quiz. In my about section, take our LinkedIn quiz. I did a campaign, hey, take my LinkedIn quiz. And I have it on the website, hey, take my LinkedIn profile quiz. So if people were looking for me, they'd say, I bet she does something to do with LinkedIn profiles.
Maybe.
Not sure. Yeah. So there's different themes that you can use on your website. We use WordPress. And there's something called a Thrive theme, in case you guys are into tech, that allows you to be able to do quizzes on WordPress, and you don't have to look for another type of software or anything that you would use to deliver that quiz. So you can design that quiz on LinkedIn. I'm sorry, on WordPress. And then we don't want to go too much into sales funnels because it might make people's heads spin, but as a result,
your email address in exchange for the quiz.
Yes, as a result of taking the quiz, I deliver a free social selling course that comes out in email to people to give them just a little bit teaser about what it would be like if they wanted to work with me to develop a social selling strategy.
Gotcha. We have a question from the Peanut Gallery. Jeremy Hansen asks, what is the most effective way to spend marketing dollars with LinkedIn?
So I will say what I'm not. I'm not a LinkedIn ad expert. I have read recently that people are doing well with their ROI on LinkedIn, but that LinkedIn ads are not as good as Facebook ads still. So unless you've got some money to burn with A/B testing, and LinkedIn might not be your best place to spend ad dollars. And why would you need to if you build a compelling digital footprint, a compelling story, a compelling subject matter expertise? The leads are going to come to you for free.
And you've been able to develop about 9,000 followers basically organically.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
And I can second that motion because we have accounts around the same size, followings around the same size, and I've never spent $1 on LinkedIn advertising. It's all organic, nose to the grindstone, just day in, day out, brick by brick. So, Jeremy, you heard Kathryn's answer, and I'm going to second that motion. Mezz on spending on LinkedIn, and why would you if you're doing all the other nuts and bolts stuff correct?
Correct.
And Xenia, thank you for your comment that, yes, this is so great. Kathryn's giving us all types of great information.
Thank you, Xenia. I want to say something else. So social selling, right, I just said, is a way to attract, engage, and have more conversations with your target market. One of the beginning building blocks of creating a social selling strategy is to understand, number one, where your target market is. So let's keep it simple and say that if you're a B2B person, which voiceover would be a B2B, right? Someone's buying a voiceover for something.
Yep.
So your target market is either going to be on Facebook, on Twitter, or on LinkedIn. Those three platforms, put my fingers over here, are places where you can be. Instagram is growing a bit, but Instagram is something that you would use for intel about what the business is doing and what their strategies are, and for developing more of a personal brand. Like I during COVID, I put some pictures of my COVID hair, right? The before and after, and a picture of me with like these foils in my hair because somebody came to my house. That picture got more engagement than any of the brilliant posts I thought I had put on Instagram, right? Or me in a dress with my cowboy boots out with my horse. People love connecting, understanding the personality behind the brand. So that would be a way to build your personal brand on Instagram. But those three platforms, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, also need to have very similar bios. So you need to be consistent on those three platforms. You need to say who you are, what business problem it is that you solve, and what's the outcome of working with you, so that when somebody takes a quick glance at either your headline or your profile, they see that information immediately, not voiceover, maybe you want to be a voiceover, but who you serve. Like I would think that most voiceover people, to create that unique value proposition, they need to pick a niche of who they're going to do voiceovers for. Not, I can do them for anyone that needs it. Right? I don't know if that's something that you
there's
teach.
Definitely genres that talent break down. Speaking of which, one of our talent followers, John Grimes, has asked another question. Any advantages to being a premium member?
I'm going to say yes. Only because I don't use just regular everyday LinkedIn, because I do things for my clients and I do it at scale. So I use some LinkedIn automation tools, which LinkedIn doesn't like, but I do that. The search parameters that are available in Sales Navigator really let you hone in on finding your target market. I kind of use Sales Navigator as a CRM as well, where I can make notes, I can make lead lists, I can export lead lists, I can see when the leads that I have are posting comments. It comes in a feed, so then I can go in and like, comment, and share intelligently on their feed. So I am a true believer in using Sales Navigator because I don't think I've ever not had it.
Good question. Good question. If you had to give, I'll say, one or two, like if you do nothing else on LinkedIn, this is what you should do, what would those things be?
Have a completed LinkedIn profile. For sure.
Hang on. Let me just do this real quick. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, exactly.
Have the banner behind your head as a visual world for your clients to see or your target market to see. Have a professional image of yourself, not a logo. Have the headline completed with what I said, who you are, what business problem you solve, and what is the outcome of working with you. And then have your about section written in a client-facing format so that they know what it would be like to work with you. What problems, I use a problem agitation solution formula. So what problems do my target market experience? Let's agitate those problems. And then why is my brand the best brand to solve those problems? And then your experience needs to be updated. And for those of you that might have been in business over 20 years, include your 10 past years most relevant experience so that you have that. Make sure that the company logos are showing up, because as humans, we look at the logos. If you do more than one thing, like Corey does and I do, if you have a live show and you have a brand, you want to make sure both of those are located so that people can see depth of the show. And yes, the answer is, should you have a business page? The answer is yes. If you have a business, you should have a business page.
So speaking of having a business, being found, being able to reach out to you, tell Go Get It Nation right now for eternity, because this will be emblazoned on your episode anytime someone watches it. If someone wanted to contact you directly or contact your company, the Social Selling Agency, for some in-depth, more detailed help with their LinkedIn or their selling, how do they find you?
Absolutely. So you can remember KathrynEvans.net. You can find me on LinkedIn for sure, but it goes under Kathryn Evans Nunez, which is a whole nother backstory you can find. And you can message me there, and my contact information for all my social media platforms are there as well. So KathrynEvans.net, Kathryn@KathrynEvans.net. My telephone number is plastered all over on LinkedIn as well as on my website, because as I like to say, I'm not on LinkedIn to build connections. I'm there to build relationships. So if you want to get on the phone with me and talk, I'm here to deliver value to you and I can take a look at your profile and in a couple of minutes give you some tips on what you should do.
Well, I mean, you summed it up. You put a big red bow on this whole conversation, because I tell you what, if it wasn't for LinkedIn, we wouldn't be having it.
Right.
Yeah. The power of LinkedIn is an amazing tool. I am very, very lucky, and I'm grateful that I'm in your orbit, you're in mine. I'm obviously here if you need me for anything, and I appreciate you being connected to Go Get It Nation. It's really tough to jam everything you know about LinkedIn into one 30-minute episode of a show.
Exactly. It's one of those things. Yeah, it's one of those things, whether you have a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree, like how do you deliver 8 years of experience in a 30-minute conversation? So,
well, you certainly got our attention today, and I can't thank you enough for being on the show. And just a reminder, guys, if you want to hop on Clubhouse, I'll be hanging out for a little while, a little post-game chat. You can just go full bore Q&A, ask me anything. I'll be there for you. Big thanks and a big fist bump to Kathryn Evans Nunez for joining us here from the Social Selling Agency. And from me to you, let's go get it.